the federal programs for the tribe, including the budgeting, which isn't always fun, because we never have enough money. But Governor Moore can attest to that. And I also help the governor and the administration with all their political stuff. So that means we're in Santa Fe every time the legislature is in session, and you know, we see all the tribal leaders up there, and it seems like we're most of the time trying to oppose bad bills as opposed to supporting good ones. So, but you know, we keep fighting because that's what we do in New Mexico. I was born in Winslow, Arizona, because my grandparents lived there. When the railroad made easement agreements with Laguna, they promised jobs to our people. So there was a whole group of Lagunas who migrated to various parts of Arizona and California to work on the railroad. My grandfather was a diesel train mechanic, and he lived there for 45 years. My grandmother used to clean diesel train engines, and she did that with a bucket of kerosene and a brush. She used to manage the midnight shift of other women. So she was the boss, and they'd send the engines out clean in the morning, and she did that for a while. They lived in a group of boxcars, what they called the Indian camp, and that's where my mom was born and raised, essentially. We were there because my dad was on a call of duty. My dad was a 30-year career Marine and combat veteran in Vietnam, and whenever the Marine Corps would call him away, if he went to Japan or the Philippines or Vietnam or somewhere like that, a lot of times we'd go home to live with my grandparents. So that was always wonderful for us because they taught us a lot, and we got to participate in things like going to the sheep camp and you know, butchering a sheep. And my grandma would, you know, she'd bring it home and take care of stick the head in the oven and all that stuff. So we learned about all those things. I got to go down to the field with my grandfather and pick worms off of corn because he'd never used pesticides. And we just got to, you know, do a lot of things that city kids don't get to, and that we didn't get to when we were living on military bases. So that was always a really wonderful thing for me. Because my dad was in and my mother was also in the Navy, and she dedicated about 25 years of her life to Indian education. So because we were raised in a military household, I probably attended about 13 public schools before I graduated from Highland High School in southeast heights of Albuquerque. And when I was 14, I went to work for a local bakery. And just as an aside, I started out at $1.95 an hour. And in the 1980s, I was making about what minimum wage is now. And it amazes me that Susana Martinez can easily veto a bill that raises the minimum wage for folks when that's what I was making 30 years ago. I think we need to come into 2014 when it comes to paying folks for the work they do. So yeah. That's definitely something that Gary King and I believe in wholeheartedly is you know, raising the minimum wage so folks have a chance in New Mexico to make a better life for themselves. I have a 20-year-old daughter. She's a junior at UNM in the theater department, and she is able to go to UNM because she gets the lottery scholarship. I could never afford to pay her tuition if she didn't get that scholarship, and my guess is that there are a lot of parents in New Mexico in my situation. So we also have an interest in making sure that the lottery scholarship is there for parents and students who need it. If we didn't have that, she either wouldn't be going to school or she'd be up to her eyebrows in debt already. So I think we should be looking for ways to include more students rather than to write more students off. I think there's a lot of smart people in New Mexico that know how to figure those things out. So I'm looking forward to bringing those folks together and having that opportunity for our kids here. When my daughter turned 2, I wanted to make sure she went to preschool. So, and I couldn't afford the tuition there either. So I volunteered at the preschool. I cleaned toilets, I changed diapers, I pulled weeds in the playground, so she would be able to have that opportunity. And I credit that experience of her going to preschool for her seamless transition from high school into college. So we also support early childhood education, as you might guess, because we think that we can take a little bit of money and our truancy rates would fall. I think we'd have a better graduation rates for kids in high school, and I think we would also see more kids going to college if that happened. So I'll be very proud to see Gary King sign a bill that says every child in New Mexico has an opportunity for preschool. And we talked about that. So, you know, I got into this race because I was very disheartened. And of course I still am. And sometimes it, you know, the sadness and the frustration I feel, it actually turns to anger because I don't understand. It's sort of like, you know, we see it across the country. It's kind of like a war on the poor people, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't want you to have food stamps unless you work, but we're not going to provide you with any jobs. So we have the worst job creation in the whole country. We have the worst population growth of any state in the whole country. Our kids are 49th in child well-being. And we have hungry kids going to bed every night in New Mexico. And that really seems unreal to me. And if any of you picked up the journal this morning, you might have read a piece by Suzanne Martinez that talked about how wonderful we're doing in New Mexico. She went on and on and on, and, you know, making a case for why she needs another term so that they can continue the progress they're making. And that's just simply not true. So, you know, we run campaigns because we feel like we have something to offer. And I feel very deeply that I have something to offer the people of New Mexico. And, you know, I may not be the most experienced. This is my first campaign. I didn't start out with school board or, you know, representative or anything like that. I went straight to lieutenant governor. I've traveled the state a lot, getting out Indians to vote, getting out Native people across the state, because I feel very strongly that because Native people and Indian communities didn't have an opportunity to vote till 1948, I feel we're kind of behind the eight ball. So that's my passion. I think we should have a say in who's elected in our state. I think Indian people should have a say in who their representatives will be, who their governor will be, and who the people that are running the state will be. Because Indian tribes, they're a huge part of everything. They're a huge part of our economy. They're a huge part of our land base. I mean, everything we do as a state, we should consider tribes. And I think in the same token that they can be wonderful partners for us to dig us out of this hole that Suzanne Martinez brought us in. So that's one of my intentions. I feel that because I've worked on Indian issues for so many years, that I have a unique perspective to bring all New Mexicans into the fold, not just the ones with money, the ones that don't have money, but have a lot of experience or have a lot of love for our state. So, we're very clear about what we want to do. Early childhood education, we want to raise the minimum wage, we want to create jobs for people, and we want to make sure that we include everyone in our plans. We want to listen to you. My door will always be open, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm happy to take a few questions. If anybody has any questions, I don't want to just stand up here and talk, but if any of you have any questions at all, I'd be very happy to give further perspective.
Deb, you need to tell everybody about the endorsement of the tattoo artist.
Oh, okay. So, yes, I have an endorsement from the Guild of Ethical Tattooers. And, you know, all I think about is, well, I love all artists. You know, I think New Mexico is a fabulous place, and I love that artists come here and do their art. And tattoo art is pretty awesome. And not only that, but all these tattoo artists are small business owners. And the tattoo industry in the country is like a $1.5 billion industry. So I feel like if we have all these artists opening up shop in New Mexico, that's going to really help us. We need small businesses, right? We need small businesses in the state. So I went to the tattoo fiesta in the Salida Pueblo, and I helped him out a little bit. The state was trying to impose state law on tribal land, and a friend of mine called me and said, "Can they do this?" And I said, "No, they can't do that." So, so I got him in touch with the tribal attorney, and they were able to fend off the state, and tribal, the tribal law prevailed. So I go to the event just to check it out, and there's thousands of people there. Thousands of people spending money, right? Getting tattoos, buying t-shirts, and all these things. And so I talked to the director of the Guild of Ethical Tattooists, and he just went on and made his whole case for why they're professionals, they're legitimate businesses, and they need help. So I got him together with Jacob Candelaria, our caucus chair, to rewrite this Safe Body Practices Act. So whenever this law was put into place, they stuck the tattoo artist in with the cosmetologist. And so they want to be separated. So I said, call Jacob, let's get an amendment written to the bill, and we'll get it passed the next session. So it's in front of some committees. So they were so impressed that I had this networking capability, and he said, come to our meeting, we want to endorse you. So I went to their meeting, and I talked to all the tattooers, and they gave me the endorsement. So during this process, I learned that there's something like 45% of New Mexico has at least one tattoo.
Yeah.
So if we win this election by 3,000 votes, and I've got all these tattoos, I have some thank yous to give. So I'm not discounting any group of people who are voters and who are contributing to our state in one wonderful way or another.